The sales for Apple Vision Pro are just not. Oh, good morning, good morning! Anyway, what I was saying is the sales for Apple Vision Pro just aren't exactly what we expected. I'm sorry, Tim, but we do have a plan.
Wow.
I can't wait to hear it. How are we gonna turn sales around? Well, the main problem, Tim, is that the headset's just kind of too heavy, the battery life's not great, and it's too expensive.
Yeah.
So I was thinking we force everybody to buy $150 Apple Pencils that make the headset require even more additional charging. But you have to pair it with an iPad, and then the iPad hands off the Bluetooth connectivity to the headset. How is that supposed to increase sales? Because it lets you draw on the wall. I can draw on the wall now, and there's objects that will stay there.
Wow.
I get it now. Good work! We'll see you at Dub. Thanks, Tim! Ooh, a butterfly. I can almost feel it. Thankfully, it feels like Apple is actually listening to my Vision OS wishlist, because at least according to Mac Rumors, they're hearing reports that Apple is already prototyping an Apple Pencil that connects to Apple Vision Pro, which, mind you, this would actually be the first time we might get an Apple Pencil connecting with an Apple product that's not an iPad. Yes, there have been rumors about Apple Pencil on iPhone support for years, but of course they never went anywhere because Apple, unlike Samsung, realized that people don't really like to use a stylus on a tiny screen like that. Sorry, Note fans, it's cool that you guys do it, but we know most of the time you're just using it for scrolling. However, the use cases for it on Apple Vision Pro make a whole lot more sense, and this kind of ties into what I was getting at in my Apple Vision Pro review, which is that while no, I don't see Apple spatial computing or Vision OS devices, even the cheaper ones in the future, I don't see them replacing the smartphone. They could just about replace everything else. Right now, the biggest selling point for Vision Pro, in my opinion, is for media consumption, which is kind of already a lot of the time what people use iPads for. They want a screen that's a little bit more immersive than their phone, little tiny rectangle. But with Apple Vision Pro, they can use iPad apps. It's already built kind of on top of the iPad OS App Store, so you can scale apps up. Now, much, much bigger than just a little square that you hold with you on your couch. And of course, people have all said the movie watching experience is quite immersive. You can turn that little dial and put yourself in a movie theater or watch it over a lake, like we all wanted to watch Dune. But now with this report on the Apple Pencil connectivity, now imagine having a canvas or being able to take notes pretty much on any surface you want. And as long as the Apple Pencil has a way of registering data of how much pressure it's receiving and at what angle, it can feed all of that data wirelessly to the headset pretty much the exact same way it does to the iPad. I know it feels like when you're using an iPad that it's communicating right with the exact part on the display you're touching it with, but there's still technically no like wired connection going on. It still has to transmit all of that data to your tablet via Bluetooth. So Bluetooth has a decent amount of range as is, and now you're just replacing that touchscreen with any surface you really want or could think of. And this may have been in the plans for Apple Vision Pro all along, because for years now there's been patents Apple's been making for an Apple Pencil that actually has a color detector at the tip, which I could envision being very cool for spatial computing, where you're drawing or painting something on this infinite sized canvas, but then you want to match a real world object or color, like the eyedrop tool in Photoshop or any color editing app, and now you can just touch the pencil against any real world object and now have that actual color in your virtual canvas. Plus, with the right gyroscope or hand tracking technology implementation, the Apple Pencil could be treated more like a wand. You could be conducting an orchestra, or you could come up with video game use cases for it where it has kind of sparkles, or you do the stupid, Disney Channel drawing. Kids are gonna love this thing, but of course you're not supposed to be using the Apple Vision Pro with children. But now imagine how many kids are gonna be drawn on the wall and not leaving that much permanent damage. Parents out there, you just gotta drop $7,000 for this Christmas present for your children. They're gonna love it. But I also could see it being slightly more convenient in college classes or places where you have to take lots of notes, imagining if you could just write all things down on a giant desk. Now you don't have to worry about people cheating, looking over and seeing what you're writing down during the tests. But of course, that is going to require a lot of education support through colleges and universities. I don't think it's going to be something that takes off right away, but laying the groundwork for future software applications is kind of what Apple's trying to do with the early generations of Vision OS and, of course, the first generation of Apple Vision Pro, which is kind of just a glorified, very expensive dev kit for the masses. Although Apple is saying they expect to launch it in other countries later this this year, and I'm sure there will be lots of big lines at Apple stores ready for people to try it out, but this was definitely high on my list for Vision OS requested features, and this is pretty much the only kind of hardware leak that supports a lot of what's on my wish list, because the top of my wish list is still being able to share movie watching experiences with people who are also in the room watching a TV. That way not everybody has to buy the headset, although that's just a software thing, so I highly doubt that it would leak even if Apple did plan on announcing that this June at Dub. But at least from what I can tell, it feels like the iPad is sort of the first line of products that might be threatened by Apple Vision getting more and more affordable, because it sounds like these OLED iPad Pros, which are supposed to come out at some point in the next month, I thought it was gonna be today, but those high-end iPads are getting more and more expensive, and hopefully, not gonna happen overnight, but hopefully those Apple Vision headsets get more and more affordable. And once we start getting to a point where, hey, having this headset allows me to take notes and draw, and also have a great media watching experience, maybe less and less people will feel motivated to spend kind of big money on an iPad. But I don't think the iPad line is going to be killed off or go the way of the iPod, mainly because most people buying iPads are buying like the $300 version, not the $1,000 plus iPad Pros. But what do you guys think? Is Apple trying to gun for the iPad Pro's market share with Apple Vision, or do you think it's going to carve out its own sector of the market? And could you see yourself in the future using an iPad for one thing and an Apple Vision headset for another thing? I personally just see too much overlap, but what do you guys think? Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.